Welcome to the message from the Lord. My name is Nicole Legister. If this is your first time here, welcome. And for those who always here, glad to have you back. You don't have to be a pastor or a member in a church for God to use you. You don't have to have a rank in a church like a bishop, a pastor, a prayer mother that some of us church call prayer mother in a church or a missionary in a church. You don't have to be that for God to use you. God can use who he feel fit to use. That's how God work. God look on the heart. God look on the person that he choose to use. And no one can tell him who to use. Just like what I'm saying right now to you today to make all of you guys know that I am not a pastor. I'm just a Christian, one that believes in God, one that trusts in God with everything within me. I'm just that person that God decided to use to speak through to his people. And as I do it accordingly to God's will, not according to mine. Because if it was up to me, it wouldn't be. But because of God's mercy, God's grace, and God's love towards me and towards all of us. Because God chose people amongst to use to do his work. Not to help himself because God knows everything already. But he choose people to help others to bring to him. As he choose me, I just want to do his work accordingly to his will. So for those who may be wondering or thinking that, hey, I can't do this work to please God because I am not in the church. I am not at the top, where people want me to be in the ministry. If you are a believer, if you are someone that are worshiping God in spirit and in truth, following his commandment, and God decided to use you, don't make what people say that you have to be for God to use. No. God can use you once you are available, once you are living the life, once you are going according to what God wants you to do, he will use you. God sometimes even use a madman, a baby, to do his work, to say something, to do something out of the norm, just to bring his people to him. God can use anyone. So don't think today, even if you're a Christian right now and God is saying, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And you see it in the word and you see you're not breaking anything of the word. You know that you can go ahead and do it because it's God's will for you to do it. Once you're not breaking the commandment, once you're not breaking the word, because you know God will not go against his word. You can do it. You don't have to be high up in the church for God to use. Just in case for anyone who out there right now who is thinking that they have to be in the church in order for them to do God's work. The Lord is saying not like that. He choose who he wants to use. He use who he wants and no one can tell him who to use. I remember for myself, as I can say to you, when God decided to use me, I remember went into a church and I told the pastor accordingly to what God told me to tell him. And the pastor was going to look, why would God use you to come and tell me this? Why God did not tell him? And just sitting and thinking about it back, I was like, look at that. God decided to use Moses. He didn't go ahead and use any person that other people think that he should use. No. God go out of many people's comfort zone to choose who he want because God see them. God know their heart. Just like even David, he was out doing the sheep, working amongst the animal, and God decided to use him. You cannot tell who God will use. And I just say that to say this, sometimes even the people who you look up to will look down on you and tell you that who are you to say X, Y, Z to them and them in this ministry before. And they begin it before. But they do not understand, yes, you may be in the ministry before me or before any other person that God decided to use. But if you're not at the place and you're not listening according to what God is saying, He will take somebody from out of your church and use them to come to you. And I tell you, I remember that just like yesterday. And I just come to the pastor and say, look here, I don't know why God decided to use me, but I'm just doing it according to His will. If you want to do it, it's up to you. I'm just leaving the message, and that's it. And I leave that pastor there. And I tell you, I felt bad, when I go back into my area, like going home or go back to the bathroom. Yes, I went back into the bathroom. I went in the bathroom. I was like, God, you hear what this pastor said? And I was like, God, they decide to use me and do this. And I was like complaining, and all I could hear the voice of the Lord said, no, I can use you. No, I can use you. Well done. And I was like, God, and that comfort my soul. I felt bad, but God comfort my soul and make me know, no, He can use me. And I continue to do the will of God. Even the thing that I tell the pastor that God wants him to do, he didn't want to do it, but I leave him. I leave him to God. And I can remember I just at work one day and I heard a voice say, it is finished. I said, God, what is finished? I just heard the voice come to me and say, it is finished. I said, what? What, Lord? And I was like, I know I pray for some things and I hope that is going through. I hope it is finished. I hope you keep fighting the battle behind the scene for me and it is finished. Not even remember what I told the pastor about. I went to the church the following, I think 2 or 3 Sundays after I went back to the church. And the same thing that the Lord told me in the week, it is finished, is the same week, the thing that I told the pastor about, He fixed. I'm telling you, God will not make him have his way. Because guess what? Everything that God said must accomplish. God keep on pondering his heart and he have to do accordingly to the will of God. So let me tell you this. I don't do this because I want to do it. I do it because I fear God. I do it because He told me to do what I'm doing. Talk to His people. Give them words of encouragement. Show them that there's a better way and there's a way out. And His way is the only way out. And as He tell me, I give the information. Even sometime when I'm even here, giving the information that the Lord told me. It also is for me. And I have to check myself. And I have to fix myself. Because what God said for one, it goes for all. So let me tell you right now, don't think, again, just for a moment, that you have to be in a position in our church for God to use. If you're a Christian, you're living for God, and God see that your heart is worthy, and God see that you have that determination to serve Him, He will use you. And nobody can tell Him who to choose. Nobody can tell God, oh no, don't choose she. Oh no, don't choose him. Who are we to tell God who He should choose to do His work? We are dust, grass that wither away. We are that. We cannot tell God how to do His thing. God choose amongst us people that He wants to use because He knows them. So don't be discouraged if you're anyone out there today and God decided He wants to use you. And you probably have a pastor, somebody in the church that say, no, you can't do it. No, you have to do this. You have to be this. Who are you to telling me this? Who are them to say they cannot hear what God is saying through you? Who are they? They're just dust. They're just grass. Once again, I said, the Lord called you to do is nothing that is out of the Word, the Holy Scripture, the Bible. Once is nothing out of it. You're lining up everything with what God said. Go ahead. Do accordingly to what the Lord said you should do. And watch Him work. Watch him work in your life. It may not even happen immediately, but gradually, I can tell you of my experience. The Lord tell me he's going to use me to do this. And it never happened until some years after I've gone through some more testing and trial, to a point where I said, no, God, I'm not going to do this. But God made me see people as being people. Seeing them and loving them, want their soul to be saved. Something that I talk about. I wouldn't care less if their soul even wanted, people so wanted to be saved. But the moment when God decided to use me and call me, I have a love for saving people's soul. For me right now, when I hear a person die, the first thing I ask, are they a Christian? Were they living? Did they baptize? Did they fill? And the moment when I hear, yes, they were filled, they were baptized, I feel rejoiced. But the moment I don't hear that, my soul grieves within me. My soul like, oh my God, there goes a next soul gone to the enemy. There goes a next soul gone to hell. That grieved me. I can tell you, it's a different when God decided to use you to do his work. You just start to have a love for people. It doesn't matter even the appearance sometimes, because you have people who put on all kinds of things on themselves. But if God tells you to speak to them, regardless of how they look, you cannot judge them by the outward appearance. And I see that God deal with me with. I cannot look on the person and the outward. I got to look at the person's soul that's really mean more to God to be saved. And I tell you, God keep on doing that for me over and over. Let me see people who he want me to see them for. A precious soul. A soul that he want to be saved. A soul that he don't want to go to hell. A soul that is worth living to make it into heaven. A soul that is worth living to escape hell, to make it into heaven. Jesus Christ loved all of us. And the moment that we that are idling out there recognize how great God is to us, we will turn our life over to him immediately, effectively, because that's what we are here to do. Work out our salvation. It's not going to be easy, because I can tell you by experience, living for Christ is not easy. Doing the work of Christ is not easy, because God's going to wake you at the time when he needs you. And he's going to tell you what you should do and what you should not do. If you're like me or anybody that God decided to use, some people may be a pastor. Some people may be a prophecy. You know, some people may be anything. All of us are here to serve God. Just that we are here to do. And God chooses amongst us who he wants to continue to do his work. As well, you can see, it's one body, but there are many parts. One body, but there are many parts. And all of these parts make up the body to make the body function correctly, properly, in the order it should go. And that's the only thing why you see God have some pastor, some apostle, some prophecy, some deacons, some, all in the scripture, God have them just for the help of the word, the help to help each other, to steer each other towards him. God choose among us to do those work. So the moment for those who think that God cannot use the person that is not in higher rank, think again. For those who think that God cannot use you because you're not in the topper level of the church where you want to be, you're just a Christian, one that just is worshiping God, one that just is honoring God. You say, oh, God now going to choose me. You're telling yourself that. You're not telling God that, because when God decided to use you, who are you to say you're not going to do it or you cannot do it? God will equip you to do it. I'm telling you, based on my experience. And even if you remember Jonah didn't want to go and give the message to the people, I think in Nineveh. He didn't want to go and give the message to the people. And Jonah tried to say, no, these people are evil. And Jonah ran away from it. And the moment Jonah think he can run away from God, there was a big fish that was there that swallowed Jonah. And in that ship, in that fish belly, Jonah get to understand that he cannot run from God. He have to just do accordingly in order for him to come out of that fish belly. Now you tell me, who can run from God's work? I tried to refuse it, and God said, no, you got to do what I tell you to do. You cannot look on their face. You got to go ahead and do what I said you're to do. Who are we? Who are we to tell God who he should use? So just those who are out there just may be wondering again, who am I? I am not a pastor. I'm just a Christian, one that believes in God, one that got called to give his message to his people. And as I humble myself, I do it accordingly to his will. And those who are out there, just get this encouragement. God will use you once you are at the place. God will use you accordingly to his will and his purpose. God knows who he wants to use, and nobody cannot tell him who he can use. So just remember that. Just for a moment, evil right now, remember God can use who he feel please, but he will not break his word. So when you heard the voice of God saying you must do X, Y, and Z, check the word, the Holy Scripture, see if it is lined up with what God said. And then you go ahead and do accordingly to the will of God. And keep on praying, keep on fasting, so that God can keep on guiding you and give you the word that you need to continue his work. Just an encouragement to those who are out there. So remember to love God, be happy, and I will see you again in my next video. Take care. Bye.